Hello and welcome to Macy Cooks. It is Mother's Day week, and for so many people that is a very, very special day. For me, it's special because I'm a mom, but it hasn't always been that way. And in fact, Mother's Day used to be a difficult day. I just cannot think of what to say. I have deleted 38 clips before I got to this one. This is tough. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna say it all, and then I can come back and cut it up later if I need to. My mom and I were not very close growing up. In fact, we had a very strained relationship. Though I always knew that she loved me and I loved her, she made choices that made it fairly impossible to be close with her. Because of those choices, we actually weren't in communication the last 3 years of her life. She passed away this year. I'm struggling through this. Give me just a second. Circle back around to that, but I'm going to get to the point first. I keep thinking of the scene from Love Actually, where Emma Thomas is talking to Liam Neeson, and she says, "You've got to stop crying or no one's going to want to shag you." Well, I feel the same right now. I've got to stop crying or no one's going to want to watch my video. Anyways, long story short, a couple days ago, I reached out to a lot of women. All of the women who have stepped up and been moms to me in the span of my lifetime. Women are all very different. Some of them I'm related to. Some of them are just family friends. Some are coworkers or bosses or just people I've met, you know, and that I made a connection with. Well, I asked them all what their favorite dessert was, and they came back with some interesting choices. Interesting because apparently they all love pie for the most part. That was a very big commonality. My moms like pie. They like chocolate, and a lot of them like fruit pies or tart pies. And cookies. What I did was I wrote it all down, and I'll show you. So here it is. This is my list of all my mom's favorites. And what I did was I took one ingredient from every dessert that they mentioned, and I put it all together in one sweet dessert. The premise behind this was that it took a little bit of all of them to make me. And so I'm taking a little bit of all of their favorites and putting it together into one dessert that I think you will all really love. Today we are making the Women Who Raised Me pie, or, well, basically a chocolate covered strawberry tart. Let's get started with the crust.
Hello and welcome to a voiceover. That's right, a voiceover. I wanted to spare your ear holes from the food processor and also take the time to do something a little new. You'll note I am currently loading way more graham crackers into this processor than I should. We're going for 2 cups. It's about 3 sleeves. Note my dog, just waiting for the ultimate messy disaster that is sure to come. Next up, I'm going to add a stick and a half of butter. That's right, a stick and a half. Like with all my recipes, this is ultra healthy. Then, once I've added the melted butter, I am going to add a couple pinches of salt. I find that salt really brings out the nutty, honey flavor in the graham cracker and just enhances it overall. Then I'm going to add a dash of cinnamon, not like a cinnamon crust or a crazy amount of cinnamon. This isn't a cinnamon challenge. It's about a teaspoon. It doesn't really matter what brand you use. I like that organic brand. Put the lid on it, Mace. Come on, we got stuff to do, okay? And next up, you'll see me very embarrassingly cramming the lid on and realizing that I was a silly. And sparing you. I mean, seriously, it's really loud. Look, it's shaking the entire camera.
Now that we've got the graham cracker crust set aside, let's talk about our pan. I'm going to be using a tart pan, mostly because I just think they're beautiful when they're finished. However, if you don't have a tart pan, you can absolutely use just a regular pie tin, or if you don't have that, you could probably just use like a brownie pan and make them more like bars, you know, where you've got the crust and then the filling, and then just refrigerate it. I'm going to take my tin and I'm going to dibble some butter all around. Now this is an extremely buttery crust as you saw, but just to be safe, I like to go ahead and butter it anyways. If you're using a tart pan, you want to make sure to get it down inside those grooves. I've learned the hard way that they stick if you don't. Next, we are going to take our crust and begin to pour it into the pan. Now, the easiest method I have found is to not pour it all in at once. And then start pressing it down in a circle, working from the middle outward. You don't want this crust to be too thick on the bottom, otherwise it'll be just mostly crust. So unless you're my husband, you might not like that. Basically what I'm doing is pressing the crust into the walls, using the dough from the middle and pushing outward. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that crust just around the edges so I can kind of build up the walls of this tart a little higher and thicker. Now the neat thing about a tart, in my opinion, is that it is extremely easy, but looks super impressive when it's done. All right, she is just about ready. The last thing that I'm doing is just pushing in at the base or the crack of this pan. I really want to make sure that that is a firm, very defined edge, so that when it's all said and done, it'll look sharp on the top and also give us ample room in the middle for filling. Now that we have our crust all ready, we are going to transfer it into a 350-degree oven for 8 to 12 minutes. Next up, let's work on the base layer of this pie. Most of my moms mentioned that they really liked cream or whipped cream. So for the base of this pie, we're going to make a homemade whipped cream.
In a bowl, I have added 3/4 cups of confectioner's sugar, and to that I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream, as well as 1 tablespoon of sour cream. Then I'm just going to mix it on high until it is fluffy. Prepare for what's about to happen.
What? What's going on? It seems only appropriate that during a Mother's Day video, my oldest daughter just called to me to come see my surprise. The 10-month-old was sitting in the floor playing with her poop. We're going to transfer our whipped topping into the refrigerator to chill. You will notice it's not a firm peak, and you don't want that. We're wanting this to be more like a cream, really. You will most likely notice that your tart has puffed up slightly. Don't freak out. What I do is take a spatula and just kind of press it down, just to ensure, 1, that it's very firm, 2, that it's tightly packed, and 3, that it's all level. Once I've packed down the bottom, I'm going to take my rubber spatula and begin pressing the sides one more time, just to ensure that those sides are high and firm. Like I'm always sweating profusely by the time these videos are over, because I'm in a mad dash to get it all done before my children realize that I'm not in the room or try to eat their own poop. Anyway, we're going to move your crust to the side and let it cool completely. While we're waiting on that, and while we're letting our whipped topping chill, we're going to make the second filling. Our secondary filling is going to be all about chocolate and cream cheese. That was the general consensus of the moms.
In another bowl, I have added a 1/2 cup of sugar and 8 ounces of cream cheese that is at room temperature. To that, I'm going to add a pinch of salt, again with the salt, I know, a splash of vanilla, just a splash, and then to that, I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, as well as a 1/3 cup of milk. And then I'm going to blend that up until light and fluffy. Once the mixture has come together, take a rubber spatula and just make sure that it is fully incorporated. And then just go ahead and set it to the side.
What? Now you may be tempted to put this in the refrigerator. However, I'm going to advise you not to. 1, it's not going to sit on the counter long enough to go bad. And number 2, it's going to spread a lot easier if it's closer to room temperature. Don't call the health department. I didn't say to leave it out for 6 hours. I said we're just going to set it to the side for a minute before we spread it. Now that we've got the second filling created, we're going to wait a little longer on that whipped topping to chill and our crust to cool. And in the meantime, we're going to slice up some strawberries. You're going to need about 2 cups of very thinly sliced strawberries for the filling. However, I'm also going to cut up some strawberries for decoration. Now that our crust has cooled and our whipped topping has chilled, it's time to start assembling.
Insert good plopping noise, and then just smear that around, working in a circle as you go. Then take the thin strawberries and start placing them from the middle outward. Try to make it look pretty, but for the record, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered up with the secondary filling anyways, and let's face it, as long as it tastes good, that's all that matters. I thought I was out of time. Sorry, I sped up.
Okay, 10.5 years later, you will have all the thinly sliced strawberries placed on the whipped topping. And what I want you to do is take your spatula that you were using and just press them down slightly. We want to make sure that it's close to even all the way around. And then lick off whatever's on the back.
I want to prepare you for the visual nightmare you're about to witness. Just know that my mental state wasn't hurt too much in the making of this video. Start smearing it around very gently, very slowly, working from the middle outwards. It's going to come together, I promise.
Alrighty, once you have it all smeared around, we're going to place it into the freezer. That's correct. I said the freezer for at least an hour. The promised land awaits. The tart's in the freezer chilling. But there is one more step. The chocolate ganache. Yeah, we're going to make a chocolate ganache. Yeah, the pie already has 3 layers. Right. But Mom is worth it. Back by popular demand, the lamp cam. To our skillet on a high burner, 7 is where I'm at, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. Do you hear that? That's the song of my people. It's not a parakeet exhibit. It's the chitlins. Does other people's houses sound like this? Please message me if your house also sounds like this. I need to know I'm not alone. Once you have a very, very gentle boil, we're going to remove it from the heat and bring it over to the side. Once we have it off the heat, we are going to add a splash, about a teaspoon, of corn syrup. That corn syrup is going to help it be very shiny. To that, we are also going to add some chocolate chips. This is approximately 2 ounces. Once it begins to melt, I'm going to move it back over to the warm burner. I didn't turn the heat back on, I just moved it over to where it's warm. The corn syrup is also going to help prevent seizing. We don't want this chocolate to be grainy. We're kind of hoping it'll remain shiny. That's the goal. Now that it is melted, I'm going to drizzle in some warm water. It's about a tablespoon. Dar she blows. We've got it all melted, it's shiny, and it's ready to top our pie. Okay, so our tart or pie is out of the freezer. As you can see, it is firm. It's not completely frozen. This strawberry decided that it wanted to come say hi, and that's totally fine. Because it's Mother's Day, it's about love and friendship. To our chilled tart, we are going to take our chocolate and start pouring over the top. I did not add it all at once. I want to make sure I don't overdo it. And then I'm just going to start leaning the pan, trying to help it spread out. Take my spatula and just start trying to kind of help it spread evenly. I do not want a very thick layer of chocolate. Now, this is your tart, and if you want it to have a thick layer of chocolate on top, then fine. However, I don't. I like it to be a thin layer. All right, ladies and gents, we have now topped our pie or tart with its chocolate layer. And as you can see, there's some areas where you can see a little bit of strawberry poking out or a tiny bit of chocolate's gotten on the crust. And you know what? That's not a big deal. It's about it being delicious. And also, we're going to hide it. Taking some strawberries that I sliced up earlier, I'm going to start arranging them on the tart just until I'm satisfied and think it looks pretty. Also, it's kind of nice. You can cover up any imperfections if you want to. She is exactly how I want her, and as you can see, she's still fairly shiny. We're going to transfer it over into the refrigerator for about an hour, and then we're going to taste some heaven. Celebrating all the moms. It's a celebration of all the mamas. Celebrating all the moms. It's a celebration of your mama. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. No, I know. Thank you. Stop it. This is too much. Quit. Thanks. Thank you. That's enough. Cut it out. It's been an hour. I feel like I can still smell the poop disaster. I think that's just scarring, honestly. I think I'll be living with that one for a while. I've arrived at the moment of truth. It's time to remove the pan. The best way I can say to do this is to push it over to the edge of the counter and start pressing up on the middle. You'll feel it start to release, and then just turn the pan. Once you feel that it's majority of the way out, lift it up. That felt like the Hurt Locker for a minute, but it came out clean. It came out clean. Let's cut in and see, shall we? I'm always a little nervous at this part, not gonna lie. Okay, I can already tell you it needs to be set a little longer, but I got excited, so forgive me. Here we go. There you have it, guys. Now, again, I wasn't patient enough. I should have left it in the freezer longer, but I was just really excited to share it with you. So, let's cut in. You know that decadent flavor that you get when you bite into a chocolate-covered strawberry? You get that with this. The amount of strawberries that we layered in here really gives it a berry flavor. The ganache on top makes it very reminiscent of a chocolate-covered strawberry, but that zingy, creamy, sour cream, whipped cream really makes the strawberry even stronger. But to be honest, it's a close call on what my favorite part is. I think it might be the chocolate cream cheese. I don't know though. The crunchy graham cracker crust might be the best part. I don't know. It's a tie. Now obviously this is a cooking video, and obviously I'm teaching you how to make a pie, but the truth of the matter is I know this video is a little different. I know it's probably not going to be my most popular or even, well, the most liked, but the truth of the matter is that it's not about that. I really wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you. Thank you to every single woman who has stepped up and been there for me. Thank you to every woman who's given me a hug or lended me advice or told me to be stronger or that it would all buff out. Thanks for the necklaces you've made, or the recipes that you've taught me, or the motivation that you've shown me. Thank you to people like Dawn, who showed me how to be tenacious and go for your dream. Thank you to people like Natalie or Anne, who were there for me when I really needed a friend. Thank you to Sissy and Dana and Kim, and all the women who have stepped up and made me feel like family. Thank you to Tony and Donna for being friends and making me laugh. Thank you to my Aunt Denise for leaving balloons on my doorstep for my 16th birthday. Thank you to Miss Debbie for teaching me how to spell zucchini and also making the best French fries in the world. Thank you to Kylie for always being so supportive and for always encouraging me and for teaching me how to make a pie crust and being such a great Grammy to my girls. Thank you to Frida for teaching me how to not sweat the small stuff, for always being there, and for being just the best lolly around. Thank you to all the other countless women who have shown me what it means to be a mom. But the biggest thank you goes to my mom. Thank you for loving me first. Thank you for trying your best. Mostly, thank you for teaching me how to appreciate motherhood the way that I do. I truly feel that the relationship with my girls is as strong as it is because of you, and will be stronger because of you. And also, for the record, I did get a lot of really good things from you too. We've got a really similar sense of humor. I won't be able to watch the Golden Girls again for the rest of my life. And every time I watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I think of you folding clothes in the living room. More than a pie recipe, I want this video to serve a purpose. I want to tell every single person out there to appreciate the women in your life. Appreciate all the mothers. Because at the end of the day, it takes a village. It really does. So, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. I love you all very much. Get baking, y'all.
Look here. Look here.